In the very first fight, we have a women's flyweight fight between Veronica Hardy and Eduarda Mora. Mora is actually going up a weight class in this fight. She is plus 120. Hardy is minus 140, the favorite. But Mora, even though she's going up a weight class, will probably be the bigger fighter, man. She's going to be 2 inches taller, have a 2-inch reach advantage. And she's the thicker girl, man. She had a really tough time making weight in her previous weight class. She missed weight twice in a row. But she's not a bad fighter, man. She's 10-1 with good striking and good grappling. I think that she's going to be cage pushing Veronica a lot in this fight. But Hardy is no slouch either, man. She's married to Dan Hardy. I think that helps her big time preparing for her fights. She's always going to have good game plans. And recently, man, she's been on quite of a run. You know, she's cast for us a few times. I believe 2 out of her 3 fights most recently we've bet on her. She cast against Miller for us, and she cast against Aldridge for us. But in this fight, man, I can see Mora pulling the upset, man. Pay-per-view, card, we don't really see a lot of underdogs winning. I mean, even last week on the Fight Night card, I think every single favorite except for one ended up winning. But yeah, man, I'm going with Mora first fight of the night to pull the upset. If you like Hardy, man, I'd rather lay the decision prop minus 105. You're still paying minus money for that. I kind of don't like that. But if I were to bet on Hardy, I would bet Veronica Hardy via decision. But for me, my pick is Eduarda Mora via decision, and that is currently plus 240. Up next, we have a banger, man, a welterweight fight. We have Basil Hafez versus Alban Elliott. Basil Hafez is plus 245. Alban Elliott is minus 310. And another underdog, I'm picking Basil Hafez in this fight. I think that line is crazy, man. Much like the Middle East, that money line is bombed out and depleted. No way can I lay 3-1 odds on Alban Elliott in this fight, man. Alban Elliott is a guy that got taken down by Val Woodburn. I think if you get taken down by Val Woodburn, you should be cut from the UFC. Val Woodburn is like 4 feet tall, guys. And Basil is no slouch, man. This guy can grapple. He's a wrestler with heavy hands. He tends to, go away from his game plans at times and just brawl, which in this fight would probably favor Alban Elliott. Alban Elliott's going to be the better striker. He's going to be quicker. I think that he has a big-time speed advantage on the feet. But Basil can change the fight at any moment, man. He has a lot of power. He's a heavy-handed guy. He's a really bricked-up, muscular guy. Trains at elevation, so I believe his cardio will be there in that third round. And like I said, I wouldn't be shocked to see him take down Alban, man. I've seen Alban get taken down by worse grapplers, in my opinion, than Basil. And at 3-1, man, I just don't see how Alban Elliott should be a 3-1 favorite over Basil. In my opinion, this is a dog or pass scenario here. If I were to bet this fight, I would bet on Hafez because I do think that the plus 245 is off, man. I think that line's too wide. I'm picking straight out upright here. I'm going Basil Hafez to win that fight via decision. Up next, we have a Make-A-Wish UFC fight. We have Mickey Gall taking on Ramiz Brahimaj. Mickey Gall is 7-6 at minus 150 right now. Ramiz Brahimaj is 10-5 at plus 125. Another underdog, man. 3 underdogs in a row for me to start the card here. But this one, man, do not bet this fight. Please do not bet this fight. This is like that South Park episode, a giant douche versus a turd sandwich. I'll be honest, man. Like, Ramiz Brahimaj, for one, like, I don't know if he knows this, but you have to, like, throw strikes to land strikes. And he just never throws. His output is just so low. I was talking to my buddy 1-3 MMA last night, actually, on his panel, and yeah, it's kind of crazy how bad he looked in his most recent fight. A lot of times, guys go out there and they look so bad that you just never want to bet on him or pick on him ever again. But Ramiz was dealing with a long layoff where he had a big time neck problem or spine problem. So he had like a weird, crazy, serious injury, he was dealing with, and then he came back and looked horrible, man. He landed 3 strikes in a fight that went 15 minutes long. Absolutely crazy, right? So he's a grappler. He wants to wrestle and then try to submit guys in his fights. Whereas Mickey Gall is a good grappler in his own right, man. He can defend these takedowns and scramble and match Ramiz in the scrambles. And on the feet, man, it's crazy to say, but Mickey Gall will be the better striker in this fight. But I'm going with underdog, man. I think Ramiz will show improvements in this fight. If you saw the face-offs, man, he faced off with the funny-looking hat. And you never want to bet on guys that have those, or bet against the guys that have funny-looking hats. But for real, guys, do not bet this fight. This is a pass. Go walk your dog or something during this fight. Go get some food, get some snacks. I can't believe this is a real fight that's actually happening. Give me Ramiz Brahimaj, another underdog here, albeit a small one. And then the last early prelim will be a heavyweight fight between Marcin Tybura and Jonathan Deniz. Tybura now minus 135, line coming down a little bit, and Jonathan Deniz plus 115. Now, this line's gone like up and down, right? So when it opened, Deniz on the right side of your screen right here, the Brazilian was the favorite. Undefeated guy, heavy power, really good striking, hits hard, really good kickboxer, and he's fast. He was a favorite when the line opened, and Tybura was actually plus 105. And I remember seeing that line thinking like, all right, cool, like that's going to be something I'm going to look at, throughout the week, and hopefully I can, get some plus money on Tybura. But I waited too long, man. I checked the lines again on Wednesday, and boom, he's minus 150. So he went all the way from plus 105, Tybura that is, to minus 150, and now he's coming back down to minus 135. So a little bit of money coming in on Deniz on the plus money here, which, I mean, I don't really mind that. I don't mind a Deniz underdog bet here, because he has that KO power for sure. But I think that the gap in skill set here with Deniz having the better striker over Tybura and Tybura having the better grappling over Deniz, it's way bigger of a gap in my opinion with the grappling. I think if Tybura gets this guy Deniz down and puts both his shoulder blades on the mat, I don't think Deniz is getting up, man. I think Tybura can finish this fight on the mat. As soon as it gets there, really, like as long as he has time to finish him, like it's not close to the end of the round, I think he's going to finish him on the mat. I think that the takedowns are going to have to come from the clinch. I don't see Tybura, going out there shooting a single leg or double leg or anything like that. I think he's going to clinch up, cage push, and then try to get him down from there. And once Deniz gets down, man, like he is not a good grappler, guys. Like I actually bet against him with a worse fighter in Carl Williams, so how can I not bet on Tybura here? But I don't know, man. He's getting up there in age, almost 40 years old for Tybura. I'm going to stay away. I feel like I missed the line, even though it's coming back down a little bit. I think Tybura finishes him, man. I think he finishes him with some ground and pound or submits him. So give me Tybura here, more experience, and just a way better grappler in that one single area. But I wouldn't be shocked if he gets bonked in the head and gets freaking slept in this fight. So a super volatile fight, pretty basic to break down, striker versus a more well-rounded guy. I don't want to say Tybura is like just a grappler or anything, but yeah, man, the gap in grappling here is pretty big. Give me Tybura to win that fight. Up next, we have a short notice replacement fight. We have David Onama versus Roberto Romero. Onama coming in with a 12-2 record, minus 1,300 on the money line. One of like 3 money lines that are just crazy on this card. And then Romero, the underdog, coming back, 8-3-1 record, making his UFC debut on short notice here at plus 700. So yeah, you can't bet this money line. Who's gonna go out there and lay minus 1,300 on a parlay? It's not gonna do much for your parlay. So you gotta look at a different way to bet this fight. Does Onama finish the fight? Well, first of all, I think he's gonna win. I think Onama is gonna win this fight. He's a very deadly striker, very quick, very agile. He has that quick twitch muscle. Whereas Romero, he's durable. He's Mexican. He could take a punch. I wouldn't be shocked to see this fight go over 1.5 rounds. 2.5, a little bit worrisome because I can't see Onama getting the finish. But like I said, Romero's a durable guy, man. He can eat a punch, keep going forward. He has heart. Decent enough striking, but man, he looked horrible on the scale. He looked really bad at the face-offs. I just think there's a 2 different level of athletes here, and we've seen it recently, man. Like a lot of these guys are taking short notice fights just to get in the UFC, just to get their foot in. And that first fight, if they lose, like it's not that big a deal to them because they know they have 3 fights secured in their new UFC contract. And like I said, they really just want to get their foot in the door. So, I mean, yeah, I expect Roberto to fight hard, but I really don't think that he has much desire to win this fight. So, give me Onama. Obviously, the huge favorite to win that fight. Not a hot take there. Up next, we have a lightweight fight between Jim Miller and Damon Jackson. Shout out to both these guys, man. I really like both these guys' fighting styles and just overall as a fan. Kind of sucks that they have to fight each other, but we have Jim Miller coming in with a 37-18 record, been fighting forever. He's a plus 155 on the money line, and Damon Jackson comes in with a 23-7-1 record, currently minus 185. And going with the underdog here, I can't believe it, but I am going to pick Jim Miller to win this fight. Damon Jackson's going up to 155. He usually fights at 145, so he's going up a weight class here, kind of towards the end of his career. And I just think that Jim Miller hits hard enough to crack him here. I think that he can match him in the wrestling. Damon Jackson's a very good grappler, very good wrestler. He's super long, super funky on the mat. And he will be bigger in this fight for sure. He's going to be crowding over Jim Miller a lot in this fight, but I think that Jim Miller can catch him in the pocket. I think that Jim Miller's hooks are very deadly, very quick, and he's a dog, man. Both these guys actually are coming off brutal beatdowns in their last fights, both to different opponents, obviously. They were getting whooped, man. Both these guys took a big-time significant amount of damage. So I want to see their durability in this fight. I'm actually kind of surprised to see Damon Jackson all the way at minus 185. I figured it'd be lined a little closer, but yeah, give me Jim Miller, man. I can't believe I'm picking this many underdogs on a pay-per-view. Up next, yeah, another live underdog, man. Chris Weidman coming in, facing Eric Anders in the middleweight division. Chris Weidman 16-7, currently even money on the line, whereas Eric Anders comes in with a 16-8 record. Pretty similar to Chris Weidman, actually, with a minus 120 money line. So, everyone wants to hate on Chris Weidman for the eye post in his last fight. Super annoying. The guy was just out there raking the dude's eyes. Just crazy, really. And then he acted like he won the belt after. I know people want to hate on him for that, but he actually looked good, man. He looked fast. He looked sharp on the feet, other than the eye pokes. And he got the job done, man. He did not look washed. He didn't look as bad as he did in his last fight before that, where he got his leg kicked off. And Eric Anders, he likes to, well, not likes to, but he's been utilizing a lot of grappling in his fights recently. And I mean, Chris Weidman's probably the one pushing the grappling in this fight against Eric Anders. I think that Eric Anders can stuff the takedowns, keep this upright. A lot of cage pushing, a lot of clinch in this fight is what I'm expecting. I expect Eric Anders to land the shots on the old Chris Weidman, now 40 years old. He's getting up there in age too. Eric Anders, 37 years old. You see that on your screen right there. But it's gonna be a close fight. I expect this to be really close, man. I don't really fault anyone taking an underdog shot here at Chris Weidman. I kind of do wish you would get a better line though if you were to. But I'm gonna pick Eric Anders. Gonna pick your boy, former Alabama football player here. Give me Eric Anders, the better athlete at this point in their careers. Minus 120 to win that fight via decision. And up next, a freaking banger, man. One of the best fights on the entire card. We have Jonathan Martinez taking on Marcus McGee. Martinez comes in at plus 115. Marcus McGee comes in at minus 135. Going with Marcus McGee in this fight because, man, Jonathan Martinez is a good striker. Don't get me wrong. I like his striking a lot. But the thing with him is, like, you already know what he's going to do. It's awesome when you sort of know what a guy's game plan is going to be going into a fight, right? Because you can prepare for it. And that's leg kicks, man. Jonathan Martinez can kick anybody's leg off in the world, man. If you can't check leg kicks, he's gonna finish you via leg kicks. This dude slams those leg kicks, and he can really immobilize you, man. Once that leg starts to swell up, that lead leg, you're gonna have to switch stances. And if you switch stances, the inside of your other leg is gonna be open. So Marcus McGee definitely knows that Martinez is gonna be, shooting at that leg, and trying to kick his leg off. And it just comes down to, can Marcus McGee check those leg kicks? I think he will be able to. And I will say, I also think that Marcus McGee has a grappling advantage over Martinez. I think that Marcus McGee comes from a very good gym, a very good camp, and a very good room of grapplers out there in Arizona. So he's getting up there in age, 34 years old. It's time to go. They're putting him on a pay-per-view card here to kind of give him a little bit more of a exposure, in my opinion. And I think it's going to pay off, man. I think that Marcus McGee is very good. I understand he's 9-1, and his level of competition in the UFC is nowhere near Jonathan Martinez, but you can actually kind of pick at Martinez's wins a little closely if you take a look a little bit more. But I don't want to do that right now. Give me Marcus McGee. Give me Marcus McGee via decision. I do think he's a better overall fighter, and I think that he can really hurt and take advantage of Martinez. I will say this is Friday afternoon, Friday night almost, and at the face-offs, man, Jonathan Martinez did not look good, man. His gym dissolved for this camp, so I don't know where he's been training at, but his actual physique, his body, he did not look good. He looked soft. He didn't look that, ripped compared to Marcus McGee, who just looks absolutely shredded, ready to go. So Marcus McGee, this is the biggest fight of his career. I think he comes in ready. I think he wins this fight. Give me Marcus McGee to win that fight. Now it's time for the pay-per-view, guys. We have a catchweight fight here, at 165. It was supposed to be at 155, but James Lontop on the right side of your screen, the underdog, is taking this on short notice, so they actually made it at 165, and he still missed weight. So we have Rufy here, Mauricio Rufy from the Fighting Nerds, coming in at minus 950, absolutely crazy, against James Lontop, who comes in at plus 550. And like I said, Lontop is on short notice, and he missed weight already, and he looked horrible on the scales, guys. Before they weighed in, I figured, man, like, Rufy should not be this big a favorite. Yeah, he's a dangerous striker. Yeah, he's super fast, and he comes from a very good gym. But just because he knocked out Malarkey the way he did, and the way he's been knocking out everybody, like, man, to warrant a minus 1,000 money line against someone against Lontop, who's very durable and a very dangerous striker in his own right, I just think that's way wide. Like, you're pretty much guaranteeing that Rufy is going to finish this guy, because if it goes 15 minutes, I can see Lontop having the more volume and landing more on Rufy. But man, he just looked so bad on the scale. He looked very fat. Obviously missed weight. He's only going to get half his check if he wins this fight. So give me Rufy. Definitely don't like this fight being on 165 catch weight with one guy missing weight. Give me Rufy though. I think he's a very good striker, very precise. And I think he's going to counter James Lontop a lot in this fight. So give me Rufy to win this fight. But man, I'm staying away from that money line. Up next, we have a women's flyweight fight between Viviane Araújo and Karine Silva. Araújo comes in at plus 240, and Silva comes in at minus 300. Again, this is way too wide, guys. Karine Silva could definitely lose this fight, but I'm picking her to win, man. I just don't like the minus 300 price tag next to her name. I figure she should be around minus 200, and that's a whole $1 off, man. So you're definitely paying tax at this point in the week. And I kind of expected it. I kind of expected Karine to be, parlayed a lot of people parlaying her and laying it on her, because she is, in my opinion, the more physical girl in this fight. I do expect this to go 15 minutes. And if it does, I think that Karine Silva is going to be banking those first two rounds. If Viviane Araújo can withstand Karine Silva early in this fight, like, as long as she doesn't gas out in her own right, Viviane, I think she can compete well in this fight, man. I think the grappling probably goes to Silva. The ability to get the fight down probably goes to Silva. And the speed on the feet probably goes to Silva. I think a lot is going here for Silva. 7 years younger. You never want to bet on a girl that's 37 years old fighting another girl in her prime, very muscular, very fast, very athletic, who's 30. So I think that two different level of athletes here, similar skill sets, but I think that in the clinch, Karine Silva will be landing a lot of damage. I think it goes all 3 rounds. I think Karine Silva wins the decision in that fight. And now we have Bo Nickel, the pride of Penn State. Where's Paul Craig, man? Bo Nickel comes in undefeated at minus 1,500. Wow. And Paul Craig comes in at plus 750. And basically, Paul Craig's only chance to win this fight is to win via submission, because he's not going to win a decision against Bo Nickel. He's definitely not going to knock out Bo Nickel. Paul Craig throws with his hands by his chest, super low, right? Like, he's not a good striker. He's a grappler. He wants to grapple you. He wants you to get on top, and he wants to submit you from a triangle on bottom. And that's what's interesting in this fight, because Bo Nickel is a wrestler, man. 2019 Hodge Trophy winner, 3-time All-American, 3-time national champion. The guy is legit. Like, you can't, deny this guy's wrestling credentials. And I don't think he'll be afraid, man. I think Bo Nickel will be getting this guy down wherever he wants. Paul Craig will probably honestly invite the takedowns. And from there, I think Bo Nickel can stay safe. I think that Bo Nickel will show his good fight IQ in this fight. And I wouldn't be shocked, guys. I know he's minus 1,500. If Bo Nickel were to win this fight via decision, because I think he's going to be safe on the feet, or at least on the mat, I should say. I don't think he's going to be putting himself in position to get snatched on the mat. But if you're just, someone out there throwing beer money, throwing $5, $10 on fights, Paul Craig to win and Paul Craig to win via submission aren't the craziest odds, man. Plus 1,300 for him to win via submission, man, that's looking kind of good. So, yeah, dang, plus 850 for Bo Nickel via decision. That's also not bad. Does Bo Nickel finish Paul Craig? I do think so. I do think he gets a ground and pound finish at some point in this fight at minus 140. I do not like that price. So I'm just going to pick Bo Nickel to win this fight. I'm actually going to pick him to win via decision. But hey, man, crazier things have happened than Paul Craig submitting Bo Nickel. So this is going to be a super interesting fight just because of stylistic matchups. Like I said, we have a wrestler who's dominant in wrestling against a guy who's very good in jiu-jitsu. So give me Bo Nickel to win that fight via decision. Oh, yeah, here we go. Up next, we have a banger of a fight in the lightweight division. Number one contender fight for one guy, in my opinion, in Charles Oliveira. We have Charles Oliveira taking on Michael Chandler, man. Oliveira comes in at minus 260. Michael Chandler comes in at plus 210. Now, these guys have fought before. This is a rematch, and a different ref, guys, probably calls that fight early in round one, where Michael Chandler absolutely hurt Oliveira bad, had him pretty much on the ropes. Oliveira's on the ground trying to dodge these strikes, and I feel like a different ref probably pulls the fight, and calls the fight there for Michael Chandler, and Michael Chandler would be champion, but that didn't happen, and the fight ended up going to round two, where Oliveira quickly knocked out Michael Chandler with a sick hook, and put him out. So with this fight, I don't want to overthink it. There's a part of me that thinks that Chandler can make this interesting, especially early in the fight. I wouldn't be shocked to see him clip Oliveira, hurt him bad, man. Charles has been hurt before. He has that weird, awkward Muay Thai stance where he keeps his chin up in the air, and he's not afraid, man. Charles Oliveira will be going forward. He's going to bring the fight to Michael Chandler, and that's dangerous because Michael Chandler has cannons for arms, and he can crack anybody, man, for sure. It's just that he doesn't have the best fight IQ, and he's getting up there in age. He's almost 40 years old and hasn't fought in 2 years. And I think that at this point in his career, I wouldn't be shocked to see him fight a little bit smarter. I think that if he would have fought a little bit smarter against Dustin Poirier, he would have won that fight. Chandler oftentimes is trying to entertain the fans, right? He wants to put on a good fight. He wants to win fight of the night. But now at this point in his career, he needs to win. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him go out there and be a little bit more patient in this fight, especially knowing that he had Oliveira hurt in that first fight and then kind of screwed himself by rushing in forward, recklessly in that second round. So that's a good lesson for Chandler to learn against someone like Oliveira. But I don't think it's going to be enough, man. I think Charles, survives that first round, and then from there, it's going to be all Oliveira, in my opinion. Give me Oliveira, round 3, submission. I think he finishes Chandler again. Now it's time for the main event of the evening, guys. We have the best fighter of all time, the best fighter to ever fight in the UFC, Jon Bones Jones, taking on Stipe Miocic for the heavyweight belt in the UFC. Can't wait for this one, even though it's a very disputed heavyweight belt here, because the number one heavyweight in the world is Tom Aspinall. You can't tell me otherwise. We have Jon Jones, the track star, coming in at minus 650, and Stipe Miocic coming in at plus 425. And I think that line's off, man. I think that Jon Jones, at this point, we still have questions, man. We haven't seen him take a punch at heavyweight. We haven't seen him get extended at heavyweight. Haven't seen him take a kick at heavyweight. We haven't seen anything because he went out there and he murked Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane, choked. Lights were too bright. It was crazy, man. Jon Jones, credit to him. He went out there and submitted the guy. And Stipe, this guy hasn't won a fight in 4 years. He hasn't fought in forever. Pre-pandemic time, guys, it's absolutely crazy. Stipe, obviously the best, at this point, 42 years old, hasn't fought in 4 years, hasn't won in 4 years. It's what are we even doing having this fight? For me, though, it's obvious. It's going to be Jon Jones. I wouldn't be shocked to see this fight get extended. I'm going with Jon Jones submission for my pick. Let's see what the odds are on that. Via submission, plus 190, man. I like it. Give me Jon Jones to win via submission. I just think that Stipe Miocic is obviously over the hill at this point, and kind of just going out there for a retirement fight. So I do think that he's going to be making this fight a little closer than that line indicates, but at the end of the day, I think that Jon Jones finds a way to get him down and submit this guy. So he's been working with Gordon Ryan, been working with Gable Steveson, and I think that Jon Jones submits him, man. Give me Jon Jones via submission. Now I'll do it for this week, guys. I know it's a really quick video. I'm probably talking quicker than I normally do because I have to be at work in like freaking an hour, and I want to get this video out. So thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate you guys. And we had a good week last week, man. We went 11 for 11 on our picks. We went 1 and 3 on our bets for plus money. We made 0.45 units. So hopefully we continue it this week. And that'll do it, though, guys. Good luck to you. Good luck to your bets. Good luck on your picks. Let me know who you have in the comments, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.